Hey guys, thank you for joining us here in the live webinar here that we have with myself and Edwin Dearborn. I'm the CEO of Premier Realtor Network, and I have here with me my Chief Marketing Officer for Premier Realtor Network. And bottom line is we're here today to bring to you the Big GCI System. If you've joined us here in this webinar, it's because you came across it on Facebook or Instagram or one of our other social media outlets. And bottom line is we don't want to take up a lot of your time. Edwin, who is a renowned author in the space of digital marketing and who has been working in this for the last 10 years, and myself have architected this system along with our other co-founders here with Premier Realtor Network to create a system that not only brings in clients, but helps convert them at a rate that nobody right now is experiencing, I don't think, in the marketplace. So Edwin, without further ado, wanted to introduce you and say hello to the people here that came to join us.
Well, thank you, Ed, for that introduction, and thank you, the listener, the viewer, to what we're presenting here. I know the main reason why you got into real estate was to make Big GCI. You didn't get it to be broke. You didn't get in it to do anything else, but to make a really, really great living so that you can have the lifestyle that you want. And I know that we've built a system that will support that goal and dream for you.
Perfect. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go right into this. We actually created a nice deck again with our marketing and design team. They actually created a nice deck here that's going to make us basically stay on track so that we could keep this nice, short, and sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that screen up here for everybody to see. Okay. So here we are, the Big GCI system, right? So it's a 5 steps to success. Again, this is something that we've been working on now for the last 24 months, architecting, and we've implemented this with people that really know nothing about marketing, know nothing about technology, because we really wanted to test it and make sure that it was working with somebody, with people that we knew that didn't have any of this kind of knowledge, didn't really have knowledge of branding, didn't have knowledge of advertising, didn't know anything about nurturing. They barely knew enough of how to email clients and call them through cell phone and text message. So we're going to go through the system right now and get right into it. So Edwin, give me a little insight right now. When you see the 5 steps to success here, right? We're going to get right into the first one, which is getting into the real estate challenges, because the Big GCI system gives us the 5 steps to success. But let's start with some of the challenges that folks that are on this webinar right now have been experiencing here with the advent of all this technology, all of these systems, CRMs, websites, blogs, and all of the stuff that they hear outside. I mean, here's a depiction of kind of what we feel like sometimes. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts here, Edwin, as it relates to those rising above the noise challenges.
Well, it's not just only the noise in the marketplace. Look, more technology has been developed in the last 10 years than the last 1,000 years. So what's happened is it's just created this mind-numbing overwhelm. Realtors are trying to be realtors. How are they going to keep track of technology with digital branding, social media advertising, CRM, phone calling, then having to close the deal, then having to finance it? All of it is so overwhelming that it's like deer in the headlights, and they end up doing nothing, or basically doing 1% of the capability. It's like you've got this, this high-tech F-18 fighter jet, and you're using it as a microwave oven. It's like you're using it to 0.1%. And a lot of people have a little bit of branding, maybe some advertising, a little bit of Facebook, but they're not leveraging the full capability. That's what the Big GCI system is bringing all that technology with experts to work for the realtor to bring more closed deals.
Awesome. So Edwin, so what we're going to do here is step 2. We're going to go right into, the challenge, right? Another one of the challenges, which is attracting enough exclusive and actionable leads. Tell us what exclusive and actionable leads means as it relates to what's going on in the marketplace today, what realtors are kind of used to getting right now if they're actually spending money online or with some kind of marketing strategy, let's call it.
Yeah, well, in the past, the only way you got exclusive and actionable leads is either you had a great referral network, right? You belonged to your BNI group, you had a book of business, you had people repeat business, but it took time to build those relationships. Or you spent a lot of money and you got ads in the yellow pages, or you bought bus shelter ads, kind of the traditional way that realtors used to brand themselves, and you would door knock and hand out the little pads and the pens. Well, today's consumer has changed. And it's changed that they're not looking at billboards anymore. They're not looking at bus shelters. They're not staring at postcards. I tell everybody, go to a Starbucks, go to an airport. What's everybody staring at? They're staring at their iPhone. They're staring at their iPad or their mobile device. So that's where you need to be. But so if you're not doing that, then you have to buy these leads from Zillow or Trulia. And you and I know those aren't exclusive. You're competing with dozens of other uh, of other realtors. And actionable, I don't know. Did they go to the website just to look at a home and now they begrudgingly gave their name and now they're being sold as a lead? I don't call that an actionable lead. Our system, the Big GCI system, is creating for you a funnel where the lead is A, exclusive to you. We're not sharing it with other realtors. And B, it's actionable. They have purposely given their name, their contact information to be contacted by a realtor, whether it's regarding a home or a piece of content. They're asking to be worked with by a realtor. Big difference in our system.
Yeah, great point, Edwin. I know, a lot of these leads that, realtors buy. And again, we experience this in our own case study with our, our small brokerage in Tustin, California. We experienced a lot of that. We were investing into all of these, big name brands out there. And every single one of the clients was just getting bombarded by other agents. So, that's definitely a key point. So one of the next ones we want to go to, which kind of that point is leading right into it, is, weak or no follow-up, right? So weak or no follow-up is basically one of the biggest challenges for the realtor. So now that like Edwin says, now that you find a way, let's say, to drive in leads, the biggest weakness is weak or no follow-up. So tell us a little bit more about that, Edwin.
Look, I don't care who you talk to. You can follow Grant Cardone, Tom Ferry, Gary Vaynerchuk. They will tell you that the quality of the lead is developed through follow through. That's a follow through of digital follow through with email, content, sharing things on social media, as well as a rapid follow up with phone calls and texts. Studies have been done from numerous companies and proved conclusively the faster you follow up with a lead, the better you follow up with a lead, and the longer your follow up is, meaning you have a system, which we've put into our Big GCI system, meaning, it's over the next few days of once that lead is generated, we have a very intense follow through, and then we have a consistent follow through for months and months and months. When you have that systematized, that follow through, you convert many, many more leads. And I'll tell you why it's even more important in real estate. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, has acknowledged that the gestation period of someone looking for a home and actually purchasing the home is between 6 and 18 months. If you don't have follow through, you're leaving business on the table, simply not because you're not a good realtor, but out of sight, out of mind. The follow through is where we build the consistent brand awareness to those targeted people who've actually asked for your information or asked to be engaged with. So this is just as critical of a branding point than the initial point of being in front of them in the first place.
Yeah, that's an amazing point, Edwin. And we definitely we created the trap for ourselves at the very beginning. So as we started to bring in tons of leads, our team got caught up working with the hottest leads, right? And so as we were developing out the system and seeing where were the places where we were following hold on one second. Falling through, right?
Yeah.
We were falling in the section of follow through, right? And that nurturing process of not just staying with the hottest lead, the one that you think is going to get you paid in the next, 30 to 60 days, but the guy who's 3 to 6 months, sometimes 9 months out. So that's a great point. And so that leads us to the next one here, which is, the nurturing process. So once you have, the nurturing process, that part of the system's in place. Another one of the huge challenges is setting that appointment, which is kind of part of follow-up, but it's setting that appointment to meet with those motivated seller and buyer opportunities.
Yeah. Why are we branding? Why are we advertising? Why are we doing the nurturing? It's all for the critical moment of setting the appointment. One of the things I learned, I did a lot of fundraising many years ago. And there was a great coach named Gerald Panas, and he taught us this thing over and over and over. He would just pound this into our heads. Getting the appointment is 85% of the close. He goes, if you have the appointment, you're 85% of the way towards the close. So the purpose of the branding and the nurturing, the follow through, is to create that critical moment where you're sitting in front of the prospect. You have the opportunity to actually get the paperwork signed so that you are the realtor of choice. So again, another critical part of the system here in the Big GCI of what we created is the follow through to get you the appointment, because the appointment is where you're going to get the client. So this is a critical part of the Big GCI system.
Awesome, Edwin. So that leads us to number 5, right? One of the greatest challenges right now, which is basically financing your Big GCI strategy, right? So
Yeah.
so we just mentioned, a lot of the key points here on why realtors have challenges in getting into the game. Tell me a little bit of how can the agent broker who's on the line right now, that he knows that online is where it's at, that it's a predictable business. I'm sure most people that have been on this line have gone through all of the webinars. They've gone and paid thousands of dollars for systems and have gone to see the gurus live or on webinars like this, right? But how does someone finance a Big GCI strategy?
Well, let me tell you why financing really is the last point and just as important. How many times have you seen people get things rolling and then they stop it because they didn't have the money? As I say in my book, Power Branding Secrets, those first 4 points are the engine. Marketing is the engine, right? But you got to have a fuel line. You got to have a gas tank. Money is the gas tank. Without a marketing budget, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could have a V12 Corvette sitting in your driveway, but if that gas tank is empty, it ain't being driven anywhere. So what we do is we're going to help finance, right? We've got partners that are help financing in a co-branding spirit to put the fuel in the system so that the engine never turns off. Look, if we had all 4 parts of those engines, 1 through 4 is the engine, 5 is really the fuel in the fuel tank. Guess what would happen if that thing is operating 24/7? Your branding is 24/7. Your advertising is 24/7. The appointment setting is 24/7. The follow through is 24/7. And it's being financed 24/7. Do you know there's only probably maybe 2 or 3% of the realtors I've met that have got that power going on and on and on? So we've got to have co-branding partners that are willing to contribute to it so that your engine never turns off.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Edwin, and you really see it with some of those agents that have been around for a long, long time. They're still doing a lot of the traditional stuff, like doing the postcards. I mean, these guys have never stopped, and so they keep reinvesting. They never stop reinvesting, right? So that fuel line continues to be full all the time. And so again, if we learn from the past and we take that same concept of you know taking the stake and putting it into this digital digital world that we're in now, is kind of putting your stake in the ground and being the first to position yourself in a local marketplace and to have that sustainability. So great point. So that brings us right to back to the Big GCI system, right? So the Big GCI system ends up being the answer, right? And it's the answer to many things. The first of which we're going to cover real quick, which is branding, right? So branding you as the local expert. And so branding is very key here, and it's something that you taught me, at the very beginning when we really started to look at this, is that we had to position ourselves as experts in the marketplace, and not only have the conversation or the gab, but be able to be seen where people are looking, which now we know is online because of all the studies that have been done, especially the one by NAR and Google, right? The real small marketing company that did that study about about the digital house hunt. So tell us a little bit about branding.
Look, it is a known fact that consumers would rather buy from an expert than from anybody else. The biggest difficulty that a realtor has today is standing out. If you can't stand out as an expert, you're just another Me Too brand. And Me Too brands fight for scraps. Experts get the cream. The cream rises to the top, and experts always get the cream. So my thing is, do you want to just be another Me Too brand and fight for scraps? Or do you want to rise to the top and be positioned as an expert? In the Big GCI system, our first step is to brand you as the expert in your local area. When we do that, you attract the cream.
Yeah, great point. And another thing too, and again, learning from a lot of the mentors and people that we follow, like Gary V and all of those guys that talk about branding and whatnot, is the guy who's the expert also gets paid like an expert,
That's
right?
right.
So he's not having to discount
Nope.
himself and whatnot. So that's a great key point there. So let's go to the next one. So now that we have branding 100% dialed in, and we're going to set them up with the right branding structure and put them in all the right places to be seen. How do we help them be found, right? Because be found is part of the advertising their brand on customer heavy channels. So tell us, Edwin, how does the Big GCI program accomplish that, and what exactly are we going to do to help them brand themselves and get the traffic of buyer and seller prospects?
Well, look, branding is just the first step of marketing. You got to put the brand on the marketplace. And as my father would say when I was young and we'd go to fishing in Montana, you got to fish where the fish are. And I know where the fish are. We got to put your brand on customer heavy channels. What do I mean? Facebook, YouTube, email. This is where people are hanging out. If you don't believe me, I can just choke you with so much information. But just one data, 75% of Americans are on Facebook every single day, every single day. And they're there for an average of 50 minutes. That means that the average American spends 1/16 of their day on just Facebook. YouTube now has more subscribers, more watchers than any other single television network in the world. They beat out NBC, CNN, BBC, everybody. So what we do, because we've got such an expert team of marketing, gurus, is that we're able to take this expert brand and put them on Facebook, email, and YouTube, exactly where they are, but not just anywhere, but geo-specific to where we want them to be. So if they're in a certain zip code, we can target their branding on these customer heavy channels and place their ads right in that zip code, right in those geo farms that they want to grab the best prospects from.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we've learned so many amazing, information from our team of guys that we assembled, because, they're experts in that specific piece, right? So whether it be a Facebook expert, that we have, that, our Facebook experts that are part of our team, our YouTube experts, the guys that know how to nurture with email,
That's right.
with the right conversation and technology. It's really exciting.
Yep.
So let's focus on number three, right? So part three in the Big GCI system to success is strong and consistent nurturing of leads with
Mm-hmm.
your own dedicated ISA team. So tell us, Edwin, how is Big GCI going to help, the viewer online right now? Once we have their brand in place, once we get the funnel going, and we have a great flow of actionable leads, right?
Mhm.
Tell us about number 3 here, the ISA team, and why this is so important to the nurturing process.
Well, they're actionable leads because we're taking action, right? And we're taking the right actions. We're getting on the phone, we're sending them texts, we're sending them emails, and we're not just doing it once. We're giving them multiple touch points across multiple platforms. I was watching this one marketing coach, and he said the sheer amount of contacts through various numerous platforms equals success in nurturing. Meaning, today's consumer has to see you often and has to see you across multiple platforms. In the Big GCI system, we've put that together where we have people on the phone, your own ISA, calling for you, as well as the email, as well as retargeting them on Facebook. So it's just like bam, 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 bam. They're seeing you on Instagram, right? We're retargeting them electronically through social media advertising. So all of a sudden, we're engaging this guy on multiple platforms in a very rapid fashion. How many realtors do that? Almost none. So instantly, your brand awareness and expertise just jumps to the top the minute they engage with us because they're hearing your name on the phone, they're seeing your name digitally, they're seeing it on Facebook, they're seeing it on email. Look, if you just ask people politely and consistently, you're gonna get more closes. That's just a numerical fact. We've built that into our system. I think this is one of the most exciting aspects of it, is the fact that we have an ISA. And look, you can read every recent article in the last 2 years. The vitalness and the importance of having an ISA is a critical organizational differentiator in making you a successful realtor in these days.
Yeah, absolutely, Edwin. And one of the things that we found is not just having, kind of like the old school concept of like the telemarketing kind of guy,
Right.
but the guy that builds relationships and builds rapport
That's right.
and is able to decipher from the clients and the consumer in more of a consulting fashion where really they get all kinds of key information again and are providing that information as actionable data to our realtors in the field, right? And so all of that is super key, and man, conversion just goes through the roof. Ever since we've implemented the ISA component into the big GCI system, things have completely just gone north for our conversion. So what's step number 4, right? So getting to step 4 of the big GCI system is creating the closing opportunity. So that ties back into the ISA team, who's nurturing and creating a relationship with the client, and then providing those opportunities for our expert realtor to now do what they do best. So tell us a little bit about that, Edwin.
Well, I call our program the Done With You program. This is not a Done For You program, and I'd like to differentiate. Done For You is like, well, I just have to sit back and they'll just close. This is the key point of the Done With You program. In the future, we're going to be offering a lot of tips to our members about how to be better at closing. But what I find is that 95% of the realtors are like, you know what, closing, I'm pretty good at it. I've met realtors that are like, man, if I get an appointment, I'm getting 70 to 80% of the guys in a contract. My problem is not closing. So what we do in the Big GCI program is not only assist you with more tools on how to close better, but creating the opportunity to close. Look, I bet you I can take the average realtor off the street and go, look, if I just set 3 appointments for you today, and then tomorrow, and the next day for the next week, of people interested in buying a home or selling a home, would you be able to have more transactions? Yes. So simply just by the quantity of appointments set and made, a realtor is going to get more transactions. This is what we mean by creating the opportunity. We're putting the person in front of you.
Yeah, really, really exciting stuff that you're talking about, because it's all of the pieces coming together
Mm-hmm.
that makes this system so powerful and
Mm-hmm.
and really takes the conversions through the roof. So let's go to the last piece, right? Because a lot of people, have this question is, hey, I'm closing some stuff right now. I even maybe have a couple of deals, maybe in escrow. I'm working with a few clients. I'm trying to, get the, getting that funding that I need. And maybe things are a little bit tight. How would we talk to the consumer today, or let's call it the potential partners that we have on the line today, about funding their big GCI system?
Well, the great thing about co-branding is that in compliance with RESPA, we're able to jump in with mortgage partners, with lending partners, and actually help you put this thing together financially. Because, look, we know that money is a barrier. I don't know any realtor. I've never met a realtor that had extra money sitting around. You've got this great program. Well, let me go get my extra money and give it to you so that I can do this marketing. People tend to live, cap in hand, and they live paycheck to paycheck. We can't do that if we're going to scale as a realtor. So part of our system, we had to confront, how do we get realtors to actually fund this and grow? And so we've created a financial or a financing model that allows a realtor at an affordable rate to get going. Because, you talk to most of these marketing guys, okay, here's the setup fee, then you got to get this, then we got to create the video, and it's $100 here and $500 there, and it's hard to get going and really build a brand. The Big GCI system can put you front and center of the best consumers in a very rapid fashion for a lot less money than I think they're going to expect.
Absolutely. So let's go and tackle right now, basically on the next key point here, which is, what are the top barriers to entry, right? And you kind of hit on some of them right now.
Yeah.
But let's hit on the top three real quick and illuminate those top three on why our listeners and the people that they probably know why they haven't gotten into the game.
Yeah, it comes down to three things. We've pitched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of realtors and worked with hundreds of realtors as we've been developing the system. And number one is, I just don't have the money. You tell them about all the bells and whistles, and they go, yeah, I know Facebook. Yeah, I should have videos. Yeah. They already know it. They just can't write the check. They don't have, they just won't commit to giving the credit card, or they don't have any more credit card space. So cost is the number one barrier by far. Number two, you tell them, okay, well then go, if you don't have the money, go build your own website. Go build your own Facebook page. Go create your own videos and edit them. They just don't have the time. They're too busy servicing buyers and sellers. They've got to be in there creating deals, or they don't live. And so time becomes prohibitive, not to mention they got to see their family, pick up the kid from school. Time is just barrier number two. And number three, they don't have the organizational know-how to create the process. I've told people many times, well, go out and buy a bunch of books and read it, and go to the webinars and the seminars and build yourself your own big GCI system. They're just like, the technology is overwhelming, Ed. I'm not going to go create a process. So when you don't have the money and you don't have the time and you don't have the know-how, point number three, to build the process, guess what? You have been barred from entering the market. The big GCI system has removed all three. We found the experts. We built the process, step three. Two, the time. Very little time is necessary from your end. Yes, you've got to spend time with clients. Yes, you're going to be part of the nurturing campaign, but a lot less than you probably think. And point number one, the cost of the program is so ridiculously low. I really see that, if you're ambitious, 90% of the realtors could get involved.
Absolutely. So that's a great point. And it really comes back to, again, interviewing hundreds and hundreds of agents that we talk to.
Oh my gosh, so many.
And really trying to figure out, hey, what are the top three reasons why you're not getting into the game?
Yeah.
And we went through so many different potential models on how to launch this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that I want to hit on right now, because a lot of people are probably wondering, well, wow, this sounds amazing, but how does this work exactly? Like, am I partnering with you? Because they keep probably hearing the word partner, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, that's exactly what this is, guys. You know what I mean? Cat out of the bag, right? Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, we're a digital brokerage So Premier Realtor Network is an actual licensed bona fide brokerage in the state of California. But the difference here is that, like Edwin was saying, we're co-brokering with you. So there's models out there that people are probably, they've heard of and know in the marketplace, like as an example, Redfin, right? So Redfin has a network of agents, and I think, I think it's 70-30. They do a bunch of marketing, they bring in buyers and potential sellers, and then they share in the fruits of the business, right? So real simple model too, right? We kind of have the same simple model. The only difference is, instead of us branding ourselves the Premier Realtor Network, you are who we brand. We brand you in your local market with our system to make you stand out in your local marketplace, right? So our goal is to basically help mentor, thousands of agents, but we're going to start off with the first 100, right?
Right.
So for those first 100 agents that we bring into the Big GCI system, we're going to basically teach them everything that we've kind of found out to be the truth, but not really just teach them to where they can try to figure it all out, because the last thing a lot of the agents want to do is try to think about more stuff, right? They just
Right.
want to do. They just want to do, and they want to help clients. They want to help families. They want to help them get into homes and basically live the dream of what it is to be, quote unquote, a self-employed person, right? Make enough money consistently every single month so that they could really do the things that they love to do and that they're passionate for. If you have a family, that could be, hanging out with your kids, taking some vacations and doing all of that good stuff, or traveling or whatever, right? I mean, everybody has passions. And so our system is about that, is being able to mentor, agents, brokers that we can partner with, that we can co-broker with, and, take the cost out of the equation, right? Take the time out of the equation and take the process out of the equation, which really leads us to the last piece of it here. What does this all cost? And so I'm going to go through this piece a little bit real quick. And Edwin, you could chime in too if you'd like here after I touch on a couple of these things. But, we started going through this whole process. And when we started to look at the branding part, we knew we had to have a website. We had to have a blog. We had to create content. We had to create all of the digital assets so that we were in all the social media outlets like Facebook, fan pages, Twitter pages, the Google Pluses, all of the different places where we knew we had to be, because that's where the people were.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed to look professional. And just coming up alone with a branding strategy, as you know, if you're to hire, somebody like yourself, a true consultant who's been in this space, just to get about 10 hours to maybe 15 hours of your time, if you're lucky, you're going to spend somewhere around $3,500 to $5,000 to really sit down with an agent and come up with a branding strategy for them and or their broker company, right? So that's number one. Number two, again, now we're talking about, once we have a strategy, designing all of the great looking pieces so that you look professional. Setup for that stuff is always going to be anywhere between $500 to $1,500. Again, you guys could shop all of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. Getting the lead generation software and applications, the CRMs that they sell you out there. Some of them, the big boys in the big boys in the space that are the top softwares, they charge you between $1,000 and $2,500 just to set you up. And then, when it comes to assisting you in managing all of this system for you, and then doing the ads, the placing of advertising in the right places, of course, that also takes the expert to put it, to put your ad to be seen at the right place at the right time in front of the right audience. That takes also a setup, right? So when you add up all of these setup costs, this is what it cost us. We were actually probably north of $10,000 when we did all of this, right? To set all of this up. And then the monthly cost to maintain this, like you were saying earlier, Edwin, is just the monthly cost to maintain a program at this level with all of these pieces is just crazy. I mean, you're looking at anywhere between $5,000 to $12,000, because it's not just technology, it's not just softwares and systems, it's actual the human element of having inside sales agents follow up and doing all of this, right? So in a nutshell, it's a huge investment, of not only setup, but it's a huge investment to maintain it, right? So I wanted to hit on that, and Edwin, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to touch on that a little bit before we kind of do, jump into kind of the offer and what is it that we're doing and what are we providing to the first 100, let's call it founding fathers of the Big GCI program.
Yeah, I think everybody knows the costs of marketing these days. I mean, if you've been in the real estate business and you've gone out and gotten quotes and you try to do this or try to get a website, you know the costs are enormous. This is why we, over the last 2 years, we developed this system because the barriers to entry were so apparent. It was so clear that the majority of realtors were not going to come up with the money nor invest the time to build it themselves or figure out the process. Without a system, a consistent system, you're not going to make it in real estate today. Without a presence on digital platforms and email and follow through, you're not going to make it in real estate. And if you do, you're going to struggle the entire time. Those who thrive in real estate thrive because they have a system in place. Either they developed it themselves by spending a lot of money and time and hiring people, or they tap into something like we have at the Big GCI System. Look, $500 a month, I spend that on coffee. You know how much I love coffee. I spend that on coffee, right? And most realtors probably spend more on that just on their Mercedes-Benz car payment, or taking out clients to lunch, or taking their kids out to lunch. This is such a small price to pay to gain a competitive edge in your marketplace.
Yeah,
Of course,
absolutely.
and can you expand and spend more money and have more ads and more? Yeah, of course. But this is such a low price to start.
Yeah, it's totally a baseline, and what
It
it
is.
is that, you're looking at $500, and if, like you said, Edwin, if you really did a financial accounting on probably your last 6 months of where you're spending money, you could easily find a way to redirect
Oh
$500.
yeah.
And here's the amazing part. So really, this program really to get you the kind of success that we were talking about here at the very beginning, and even the landing page that you guys visited us on when you came to the webinar, is the success that we were able to have with our 74-year-old broker in Tustin, California, who if you look at his his stats, and obviously those can be found, 19 transactions, right? And he was spending more than $1,000 a month, or let's call it thereabouts, because initially there was more money being spent on things that didn't really need to be spent on. That what now we've refined the system, but I think he was probably right around $1,200 per month was his spend, and and it resulted in 19 transactions. So you do the math, right? If you're on this webinar right now, you do the math on what 19 transactions, would mean for you. But even then, we made it better for you, right? So for the first 100 Premier Realtor members that join the Premier Realtor Network, they're going to receive a $500 matching, bonus. You know what I mean? So they put in $500, and lenderfunnel.com is going to match the other 500. So now we've totally removed that barrier, of entry, and allow these guys to build a foundation, over the first 6 months that we know that, this game, it's about being able to be consistent. The minute you get past month 3 and 4 and all of the closings start to come in, then you're never going to look back. And then the system starts to pay for itself.
And let me just tell you something. I got 2 points here. Number one transaction will pay for an entire year's worth of marketing in the system. One transaction. Number two, I dare you. I double dare you. I throw down the gauntlet of daring. You build a system that does all this on your own and only spend $500 a month. You will never, ever, ever match in quality or quantity what we're able to do for you for this dollar amount. It's impossible for you to do it on your own. So to me, it's a no-brainer. It's like, call me and sign up now. Like, sign up now and get your digital farm secured, right? Lock it in, lock everybody else out, and let's get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So, right now, as the webinar ends, all they need to do, there's going to be 2 call to action buttons.
Hmm.
And for those of you who see this, who see that it is a no-brainer, like Edward's saying, who have already priced out all the systems, have invested thousands of dollars already, and are tired of searching, and they just want to do,
Yep.
now's the time to join, right, and secure your zip code. And again, when we lock in a zip code right now, it's going to be an exclusive zip code right now. And we're not, our goal is never to be like Zillow or Trulia and be one of these, billion-dollar companies that's just basically preying upon, our fellow, realtors and brokers, right? Because we're just like you guys. Our goal is to help you grow and to be part of a growth process together. And so our goal is not to have 15 to 30 realtors where you're just selling out zip codes and you're selling impressions and not even ever guaranteeing anything, right? So the bottom line is that if you see this and you're ready to join, click the sign up button and then secure your zip code. Make sure that your zip code's available, but you'll go to a page where you'll basically enter a few data points, and then you enter the zip code that you're looking to dominate, and then it's
Yep.
going to let you know that that zip code's available. For those of you who have a few more questions before you move forward, it's simple as well. You could schedule a free complimentary 30-minute session with Edwin where you can actually go through your specific branding and advertising marketing strategy, so that you feel comfortable now moving forward, right? And again, that's 30 minutes you know of a gentleman here who definitely knows his stuff. He's a author, been in the space for over 10 years, and is one of my guys that at the very beginning, when I knew I wanted to start this, I had to go to somebody like Edwin. So he's giving 30 minutes of his time to those of you who need a little bit more information, and then hopefully once you speak to him, obviously you can lock down your zip code as well. So I'm going to stop the share here and bring us back here live. So hey, we're back. We're back again. We're off the slides. Edwin, thank you so much for taking the time here to be here with us and
Hmm.
explain the 5 steps to the Big GCI system. We probably went a little bit longer than we had thought, but we hope we brought a lot of value to those of you who are here listening today. So Edwin, I'm going to turn it over to you, and again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Just give me a call. I want to sign you up. I want to take
Awesome.
your money and get you leads.
Awesome. Okay, guys. So we look forward to seeing you as one of our founding members, and we're signing off.
Bye.
Bye.